I made scientific magic. Chapter 10. Karl, why did you betray us? Chapter 10. Karl, why did you betray us? Quack. Suddenly, a crisp crow sound interrupted the two people staring. Lin En looked back regretfully, and looked in the direction of the sound. A grey crow the size of a palm was standing above the counter staring at himself intently. Drunkard, the owner of the tavern, is an authentic weight businessman, exuding a shrewd and philistine aura. After hearing the sound of crows, he couldn't help but stop wiping the wine glass, grinning and showing his yellow teeth. Greeted warmly. It's really a rare face. Welcome to the Drunk Man Tavern. Do you need anything, my guest? A glass of Guro wine needs 4 years. If I heard correctly, it should be 17 Seekers copper coins. Lin En went straight to the front of the stage and arranged the copper coins in his hand in 5, 5 and 7 equal parts. On the table, the owner of the tavern looked at Lin En carefully. His gaze stayed on the long sword hanging at his waist, and the expression on his face remained unchanged. That was last year's standard. Now, we have to sell 21 coppers. Lin En was stunned for a moment, but before he could answer, the pretty-looking female drinker pursed her lips and said teasingly, Old York, aren't you fooling the newcomers? Why didn't I know that the price of Guro wine here has suddenly increased? While talking, the female alcoholic looked at Lin En with great interest. Although a cup of Guro wine of 17 coppers is not a luxury, few people in the Drunkard Tavern are so generous. Especially that person is young and handsome, and his muscles are also very solid. He should not be the type that is not used for nothing. Old York didn't care about the women's sabotage, and grinned. 2 cargo ships capsized in the harbor this year. The raw materials of Guro wine are scarce, so it will always be more expensive. Lin En frowned and spoke again. But I only have 17 Seekers copper coins. The young female alcoholic's interest in Lin En suddenly halved when she heard the words. It seemed that she was just another poor ghost who squandered her savings in order to have a sip of good wine. Then I suggest you change your taste. Old York shrugged. Of course, if you're interested in earning some extra money, I can help you. Lame Lauder just needs a guy who can help him with his private work recently. He has always been generous and generous. Lame Lauder. Lin raised his eyebrows. He had heard this name more than once during the time he stayed in Wuxiaworld town to investigate intelligence. The rumors about the other party are not very good. Very well, I'm short of a suitable job. Lin En nodded and agreed after a lot of thoughts. Old York swept the copper coins on the table into his pocket, and beckoned the waiter in the tavern to temporarily take over his work, then looked at Lin, and spoke again. Come with me. The Guro wine you want is in the cellar. Take it first and I will take you to meet him. Seeing Lin leaving with Old York unprepared, the drinkers who watched the fun couldn't help but gloated. Everyone who lives in the town of Yor knows that the lame Lauder is notoriously black-hearted despite his generous shots. It is rumored that many people who ran the boat under his hands disappeared inexplicably, and sometimes even a dead body could not be found. Arrive. There is life to get money, but no life to spend. Ellipsis. While the drinkers were gloating, Old York led Lin through the back kitchen, into the storage room full of wheat flour and wooden barrels, and stopped in front of a huge dirty wine barrel. Click. Old York pressed down on the lid of the wine barrel on the side. With the sound of wine surging, the wine barrel slowly rotated half a circle, and the wooden board at the bottom jumped out, revealing a half-person high secretly. Follow this path. The person you want to meet will be inside. Old York lowered his voice, stuffed the candlestick that was lit aside into Lin's arms, and warned impatiently. Be careful yourself. Don't cause trouble for me. Lin En thanked him, picked up the oil lamp and stepped straight into the dark passage. Behind him, the huge wooden barrel full of wine stains rotated back to its original position, followed by the sound of wine being refilled. The faint light from the outside disappeared, and the dark passage was pitch black, extending to nowhere. Only the faint candlestick in his hand could illuminate the road ahead, and there was a smell of bad wine in the air. Lin En walked along the dark passage, already vigilant in his heart, and kept recalling the information of several fellow apprentices in his mind. Because his mentor Kelu has been running around all these years, he doesn't have a fixed residence, let alone keep every apprentice by his side. After all, too many new faces suddenly appearing in a city is really eye-catching, which is not conducive to hiding identities. So the original body's understanding of these people is very limited. Most of them have only met a few times, and know the name and appearance. The only person he is more familiar with is Johnny, who sent him a letter before. Of course, this understanding is one-sided. To be precise, the original Karl has a delicate feeling for Johnny that is unique to teenagers. Using words that can be understood, it is unrequited love for the sake of sex. As the most favored disciple of Kelu, Johnny has a high talent for magic, and he is only one step away from becoming an official wizard. He is also the apparent leader of the group of apprentices after Kelu's death. It's a pity that this kind of one-sided delicate relationship obviously can't provide him with any help. While Lin was distracted, the narrow secret passage ahead gradually became wider. Through the faint candlelight, Lin realized that the secret passage actually led to a dense forest outside the town of Yor. It was already late at night, but the sky was not as dark as expected. The silvery moonlight fell down through the cracks in the jungle branches and leaves. The solid lowest ground seemed to be covered with a layer of transparent tulle. Lin En faintly felt the inside of his body. The magic power also became more and more active. Is this Sunday? Through the dense bushes, Lin could vaguely see the bright stars in the sky and the huge moon. According to the memory of his predecessor Karl, this strange astronomical scene only occurs once a year, and it will last for about 3 to 5 days. However, there is no record in the memory that moonlight can affect magic power. That's right, the predecessor became a wizard only half a year ago. Lin En was thinking about it, when there was a sudden sound of piercing through the air, and more than a dozen condensed, magic missiles, flew out from the surrounding closed woods, blocking his escape routes in front, back, left, and right. Trap. This idea immediately popped up in Lin En's mind, and he had already reacted the next moment. He flipped his empty left hand, and a ball of grey powder fell into his palm. Casting material, embers of the red fire. Lin En threw it hard, and the dots of powder instantly ignited under the action of magic power, forming a hot wall of fire in front of him. However, the hastily used new type of magic, secondary firewall art, was naturally no match for the combination of several wizard and apprentices. And, magic missile, penetrated the flames almost instantly. Fortunately, Lin's goal has been achieved. The heat wave and high temperature caused by the firewall made these magical creations lose their aim, and they hit the tree trunks and lowest land behind them scatteredly. Seeing 4 figures covered in black robes approaching him in a semicircle, Lin En silently pulled out the long sword at his waist. and at the same time untied the storage bag storing the white phosphorus, ready for battle. Due to the rush of time, the stock of white phosphorus he made is limited, but now is obviously not the time to keep it. But before Lin En could make a move, a cold voice came out one step ahead. Karl, why did you betray us? P.S. The same as before, ask for recommendations, collections,